from Group 1, and today we will present our presentation, which is the renewable energy overview. Our group includes me, Đinh Mai Phương, Vũ Ngọc Trâm, Nguyễn Dương, Nguyễn Thế Anh, Area Takubo, Saramatsui May, Akashi, Nadia, Fujiwara, Nanaka, and Takamo Riko. In our presentation, there will be 8 parts. So this is the contents. Our first part is what is renewable energy. The second part is advantages and disadvantages of hydropower. The third part is reason for concentration of wind and solar power plants in the Bigfoot area. And the fourth part is evaluation of renewable energy in Vietnam, especially the Hanoi province. The fifth part is history of renewable energy development in Japan. The sixth part is current status and the future of renewable energy in Japan. The seventh part is renewable energy development in Vietnam, and the final part is future development of renewable energy in Vietnam. So to make this more comprehensive, you could understand that the first part is the explanation of renewable energy. The second to fourth part is an example of renewable energy. And this last part is about renewable energy development as an example.
My topic is what is renewable energy. Renewable energy is energy derived from natural resources and sources will never be depleted. For example, solar energy, wind energy, geothermal energy, hydropower, bioenergy, and so on. Solar energy is the energy of light and heat emitted from sun. Solar energy is the most abundant of all energy resources, but different to the source of solar panel. Wind energy. Wind power is used to rotate wind turbines and generate electricity, but high installation cost. Geothermal energy. Utilizing the power of high temperature water and steam heated by magma deep underground. The power generation is stable, but suitable sizes are limited. Hydropower. Power generation using the difference in water levels. Energy change rate is high, but incapacity can lead to deforestation. Bioenergy. Energy derived from biofuels. It emits carbon dioxide, but the resources absorb it. Power generation is stable, but transporting the materials costs money. Renewable energy has strength and weakness. Strength and depletion of resources and a cost cell. Less carbon dioxide emissions than fossil fuel energy. Job creation. Environmental improvement. Weaknesses. Constructing facility and providing equipment remains costly. Waste management from facilities and equipment. Some renewable energy provides energy consistently.
Next, I will now explain about advantages and disadvantages of hydropower generation with a particular focus on dam. First, hydropower can be broadly divided into 2 types. The Dunning dam is the example of the first one, and while the Hyogo dam is a representative of the second. Although the Huamin Dam was first built first, and the Daning Dam was the second. And Daning Dam is considered as a masterpiece. The Daning Dam was the first structure which built as a part of Japanese Offshore Development Assistance ODA project, and it serves two purposes. One is power generation, and second is the water supply for agriculture. Without this dam, it will be impossible to secure sufficient water, making it difficult to harvest rice 3 times a year. On the other hand, since the power plant at Huamin Dam is located directly below the dam, its power generation efficiency is slightly lower than that of Daning Dam. And building the dam causes destroying people's home, cutting down forests, and some ecological damages. In that regard, hydropower still has some problems. In recent years, hydropower has come to be regarded as a non-renewable energy source worldwide, and plans to build new large-scale dams in Vietnam have been scrapped.
Well, there are various reasons for the concentration of wind solar power plants in Lincoln area. First of all, natural conditions contribute major advantages to the development of power plants in Lincoln. Like, for example, solar radiation, wind conditions, and rainfall are the huge geography advantages for the construction of power plants in Lincoln. First of all, solar radiation. For solar radiation, there are 8 hours of sunlight on a daily average, with a 60% absorption every period. About wind conditions, the speed of the wind is around 6.5 meters per second average. Strong winds periods ranging from the end of October to late March. Meanwhile, about rainfall, this area rarely have rains, and Lincoln has periods of rains ranging from September to November. Moving on to the next part, for other conditions like the technology adaptation, the government policy, or the corporate investment. I would like to talk about the power grid, like the technology in network use already existing electrical lines with a minimal efficiency loss, which is at 3% only. Concurrently, the government also gives a lot of policy that help network to develop power plants. For example, network government support, like decisions no 55 incentivize foreign investments for renewable energy. There are no government funding, however. On the other hand, corporations also invest heavily on the infrastructure of renewable energy there. Like one firm invests on solar energy, and 2 investments on wind energy. All of them are foreign companies.
Next, we will talk about an evaluation of renewable energy in Vietnam, especially Khánh Hòa Global. First, regarding spread, Khánh Hòa benefit from exceptional natural conditions with over 1,900 to 2,200 sunshine hours per year and 490 km coastline, ideal for both onshore and offshore wind power. On top of that, the sector enjoys strong policy support, national framework like EPPS and the EPPA mechanism of direct power sale, while local initiative aim to turn Khánh Hòa into a clean energy hub by 2030 with a 14,000 megawatt target backed by grid upgrade and tax incentive. However, there are two main weaknesses to consider. First, expanding development depends heavily on government approval. Large projects face potential evaluating for BPS allocation, complex multi-ministerial licensing, and pricing uncertainty after the MIT for policy expert. Second, current technology fails to recycle broken parts, composite wire blades, and heavy metal solar panels are hard to biodegrade. And without a local recycling facility, landfilling remains the main option, creating heavy decommissioning costs.
Next, let's move to the impact of renewable energy on local communities. When looking at the impact of renewable energy on local communities, the overall effect is mostly positive as the benefits clearly outweigh the minor drawbacks. First of all, these energy projects have boosted the local economy by creating various job opportunities for local people from construction to daily maintenance. Secondly, companies tend to focus on protecting the local environment right from the planning stage. Instead of taking over useful land, they specifically buy the land that cannot be used for farming, ensuring that local agriculture is not harmed. In addition, noise control is handled very powerful. The wind turbines are designed to make minimal noise, and the company sets operating schedules during the day to reduce sound and avoid disturbing nearby residents. Finally, these projects also bring better infrastructure to the area. Companies often upgrade and improve local roads, which makes transportation much safer and much convenient for the local community. Next, let's discover our relationship with HSGS. When connecting renewable energy projects to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, we can divide impacts into direct benefits and broader long-term contributions. First, there's direct relationship with four key goals. There are climate action, affordable and clean energy, good health and well-being, decent work and economic growth. Second, these projects also strengthen positive impacts to several other areas, such as industry, innovation and infrastructure, responsible consumption and production, sustainable cities and communities, life on land, and partnership for the goals.
Next, I will explain how renewable energy has developed in Japan and what changed the mind of renewable energy. before, first I will explain about the situation before oil crisis. Before the 1970s, Japan mainly depend on thermal power. However, Japanese resources are limited, so Japanese energy depended on other countries. At that time, in Japan, the renewable energy was not yet widely used, but the sort of renewable energy changed when oil crisis happened in 1973 and 1979. From then, Japan started to study renewable energy. In 1990s, the government began to introduce policy to promote solar power. So solar power became more common in Japan.
After that, in 2011, the Great East Japan earthquake happened, and because of that, Fukushima Daiichi nuclear accident occurred. After that, Japan stopped the nuclear power plant temporarily and began to focus more strongly on renewable energy. And now, Japan generates electricity by solar, wind, hydropower, and geothermal. In particular, solar power is the main renewable energy right now. However, our renewable energies have challenges such as unstable power supply and high costs. Because of that, Japanese renewable energy share is around 25%. For the future, Japan established the 7th basic plan in 2025. It was created to provide stable energy, reduce carbon emissions, and support economic to meet its 2050 net zero emission goal.
Next, I will explain about the current status and future of renewable energy in Japan. Current energy mix as of 2024, thermal power is 67.6%, and nuclear power is 9.4%. Renewable energy is 23%. Among renewable energy, hydropower is 7.4%. Solar power is 9.9%. Wind power is 1.2%. Biomass power is 4.2%. And geothermal power is 0.4%. Technologies and goals. I want to introduce one of the future technology. Perovskite solar cell invented in Japan and used at Expo 2025 Osaka, Kansai, Japan. And it is thin, light and flexible, and so it can be used anywhere. Next, Japan aims to cut its CO2 emissions by 46% by 2030, 60% by 2035, and 73% by 2040, and reach zero emissions by 2050. And challenges for future expansion and inability to get local inhabitants consensus and to use land for most renewable energy facilities. And solar and wind energy still relies on foreign imports for solar panels and wind turbines. And most locations in Japan that are suitable for hydropower dams have been used.
Let's look at the renewable energy development in Vietnam. First, development energy policy, which we have feed-in tariffs for fixed for solar and wind power. Vietnam introduces fixed scheme to incentivize investment in solar and wind power. These policies guarantee a fixed price for renewable energy producers, making project more financially viable. Next, we got Power Development Plan A, or PDP-A. Decision number 538 of the Prime Minister related to approving the development strategy of the Vietnam Electricity Group outlines Vietnam electricity development strategy until 2030. 2030, which with a vision to 2045, it emphasizes the transition from fossil fuel to renewable energy sources, setting specific targets for each renewable energy technology, which we can look over there in this investment rate in 2005 renewable energy capacity by 2013, which also next we got national energy level development strategy. This overarching strategy provides a roadmap for Vietnamese energy sector development with a strong focus on renewable energy integration and energy efficiency. With our current development, according to the Institute of Energy, Economic and Financial Analysis, Vietnam succeeded in increasing the solar and wind capacity from virtually zero to more than 21,000 megawatts between 2008 and 2018 and 2023. Clean energy also has a portion in Vietnam's total energy supply. In 2023, hydropower supplied 229,140 petajoules of energy, while solar and wind and other renewable supply 139,707 petajoules, which you can see from the graph below. Is that correct? No, that's not correct. So next we want to share the renewable energy electricity generation. Renewables and low carbon sources account for about 45 to 46% of Vietnam's total electricity generation. Hydropower is the largest contributor, supplying roughly 30 to 34%, followed by solar at 8% and 4%. Fossil fuels, predominantly coals, make up the remaining share. You can see right here. Gas, 6.4%, coal, 47.8%, solar, 7.9%, 4.2%, hydropower at 13.7%. And finally, we have the future development of renewable energy in Vietnam. This section is kept a little bit shorter than usual because there are many plans for development, but this is the brief. From 2025 to 2030, the expansion of solar power, initial offshore wind projects, and development of energy storage, as well as smart grid upgrade are planned. From 2030 to 2035, we have rapid growth of offshore wind and battery storage, early green hydrogen production. And finally, from 2035 to 2050, large-scale hydrogen and ammonia industries, as well as widespread smart grid implementation, and renewable dominated energy mix, supporting Vietnam's net zero emission goal target by 2050. Now, before we end this presentation, I would like to share what both parties, Japanese students and the Vietnamese students, have learned from this field trip. For the Vietnamese Students Party, we have learned about the geological advantages of Vietnam that constitutes the construction of renewable energy facilities, as well as understand and empathize Japan's difficulties in expanding renewable constructions. For the Japanese student side, the Japanese students also learned about geographical advantages of Vietnam, as well as some mechanics of renewable energy. The most important thing I feel that the Japanese have learned is that they have learned about the cultural differences between Japan and Vietnam, especially the traffic culture. But they have managed to acknowledge the similarities, as well acknowledge the similarities between said cultures. Thank you very much for listening to our presentation. Please ask any questions and I will answer them.